In this podcast episode, Dr. Chris Van Tulleken discusses the harmful effects of ultra-processed food on our health and society. He begins by sharing his personal experience of gaining weight and entering a vicious cycle of overeating, anxiety, and sleeplessness due to a normal British diet. He emphasizes that 75% of the calories consumed globally come from 6 companies, which he refers to as a food mafia, that controls our food and engineers it to be consumed in excess. Dr. Van Tulleken explains that ultra-processed food is produced by a food system that prioritizes financial incentives over public health. These foods are made from cheap ingredients, often waste products from food processing, and are designed to be addictive and irresistible. He highlights that poor diet, particularly high in ultra-processed food, has overtaken tobacco as the leading cause of early death worldwide. The guest argues against the notion of personal responsibility in combating obesity and weight gain. He believes that arguments around personal responsibility are morally, scientifically, and economically redundant. Instead, he suggests that poverty and lack of access to healthy food are major factors contributing to the consumption of unhealthy ultra-processed food. He asserts that if poverty is eliminated, around 60% of diet-related diseases could be eradicated. Dr. Van Tulleken challenges the idea of calories in, calories out as a simplistic approach to weight loss. He explains that the food industry manipulates ultra-processed food to be addictive and to make people consume more than they need. He also highlights the negative impact of ultra-processed food on children, with many consuming artificially sweetened drinks on a daily basis. The guest discusses the transformation of the food environment in the 1970s, which led to a sudden increase in weight gain and obesity worldwide. He attributes this change to the industrialization and financialization of the food industry, resulting in a small number of companies controlling the majority of food production. These companies prioritize financial gain over public health, leading to the production of ultra-processed food. Dr. Van Tulleken explains that ultra-processed food is characterized by the removal of nutrients and the addition of additives, artificial sweeteners, and flavorings. These foods are often soft, energy-dense, and lack phytonutrients found in whole foods. He emphasizes that the focus of the food industry is to create products that are addictive and drive excessive consumption. The guest provides examples of supposedly healthy food products, such as breakfast cereals and diet drinks, and highlights the misleading marketing and labeling practices used by the food industry. He explains that these products may meet the criteria for being labeled as healthy, but they are still ultra-processed and can have negative health effects. Dr. Van Tulleken suggests that a better alternative is to consume whole foods, such as milk, water, porridge, and real yogurt, rather than relying on ultra-processed options. He also emphasizes the importance of understanding the role of flavorings and additives in confusing our body's natural responses to food. Dr. Van Tulleken emphasizes that ultra-processed foods are not only detrimental to our physical health but also have negative effects on our mental health. Studies have shown that these foods are associated with anxiety, depression, and even dementia. He shares his personal experience of feeling stressed, anxious, and experiencing sleeplessness while consuming a diet high in ultra-processed foods. The discussion then shifts to the topic of willpower and the misconception that weight gain is solely a result of consuming more calories than one burns. Dr. Van Tulleken explains that while some individuals may have the ability to control their food intake, many people have genetic predispositions that make them more susceptible to the addictive nature of these foods. He cites twin studies that show how genes for obesity are more likely to be expressed in individuals from low-income households, highlighting the role of socioeconomic factors in the obesity epidemic. The conversation also touches on the importance of the food environment and the lack of access to healthy, affordable options for individuals with low incomes. Dr. Van Tulleken argues that simply telling people to make better choices is not a viable solution, as many individuals do not have the means or resources to do so. He emphasizes the need for a food system that provides equal opportunities for everyone to access nutritious food. Dr. Van Tulleken continues by discussing the social justice aspect of the obesity epidemic. He highlights the stigma associated with obesity and the importance of addressing the issue without blaming individuals. He argues that the focus should be on creating a food environment that promotes health and well-being for all, rather than placing the burden solely on individuals to make better choices. Dr. Van Tulleken explains that ultra-processed food is highly addictive and can lead to a range of health problems, including obesity, cardiovascular disease, cancer, high blood pressure, fatty liver disease, depression, and dementia. He argues that the food industry, particularly transnational food corporations, exerts control over our food choices and contributes to the rise in health issues. He acknowledges that not everyone has the privilege to make better food choices due to financial constraints and limited access to healthier options. However, he encourages individuals to become activists in their own lives and take back control from the food system that manipulates and harms them. Dr. Van Tulleken proposes several steps for individuals to make positive changes in their diet. Firstly, he emphasizes the importance of awareness and understanding what constitutes ultra-processed food. He suggests conducting an audit of one's food consumption to identify frequently consumed ultra-processed food and make intentional choices to incorporate more whole foods into the diet. He also highlights the need for systemic changes to address the issue on a larger scale. Dr. Van Tulleken advocates for tackling poverty as a political choice and ensuring that real food is affordable and available to all. He calls for appropriate labeling of unhealthy food, clearer national nutrition guidance, and the removal of industry influence from food policy making. While Dr. Van Tulleken acknowledges the challenges and power of the food industry, he remains optimistic about the potential for change. He cites examples of successful regulation in the tobacco industry and the emergence of non-profit food companies that prioritize reducing healthcare inequalities. He believes that a sustainable form of activism, supported by evidence and financial models, can lead to significant improvements in the food system. The conversation also touches on personal experiences and regrets. Dr. Van Tulleken reflects on his relationship with his brother, who struggled with weight issues, and how he learned to let go and allow individuals to take ownership of their problems. He expresses regret about not spending enough quality time with his own children and vows to prioritize being present and investing in their lives. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.